welcome once again to Real Shame, a show where we talk about our list of movie blind spots, movies that have passed us by, or we've passed them by, or both over the years, but we are finally kind of remedying that.
Yep.
We're forcing each other. I'm forcing movies down his throat. He's forcing movies down my throat, and hopefully they're a tasty meal, but sometimes they're not. Just depends. All right, so on Monday's episode, we tackled a movie that I'd never seen before from 2003 called, I won't call it LXG, The League of Extraordinary, but I just did. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen we talked about on Monday, and Adam decided to pair that with another movie that shares some similar DNA. Right. Adam, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today.
All right, Hugh Jackman's taking on the mantle of another literary protagonist that is fighting against a group of antagonists from other books. And no, it's not LXG, it's not The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it's Van Helsing. He plays Gabriel Van Helsing in this one, not Abraham, but Van Helsing nonetheless.
And now, we need you to go to the east, to the far side of Romania, an accursed land terrorized by all sorts of nightmarish creatures, lorded over by a certain Count Dracula.
Dracula?
Yes. You've never faced one like this before.
All right. Van Helsing came out in 2004. It is written and directed by Stephen Sommers. Who's Stephen Sommers, you say? Well, let me tell you what. He directed one of my favorite movies of all time, The Mummy, and he directed The Mummy Returns and the other movies. But he directed The Mummy, which I made you watch for the show. Again, that's another theme for this week. Mm-hmm. And we both like The Mummy.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
He directed Odd Thomas. Have you seen that? With Anton Yelchin?
No, I want to say maybe I started to watch it one time, but I know I've never seen it all the way through. And I don't remember why I stopped.
I also really like Odd Thomas. It is not, it's I don't want to say it's not a great movie, but what it does well. And so I like it. I just like it for what it is. It's odd, I guess.
Well, and I don't want to step on your toes, but last time you mentioned that Stephen Norrington hasn't done anything since The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Stephen Sommers has not done anything since Odd Thomas, I don't think, according to his IMDb.
Yes,
or at least not directed anything.
I
Maybe written some stuff.
I believe you're correct. I think he's. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I did not notice that, but I'm glad you're pointing that out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I was surprised by that because I was like, hey, he hasn't directed anything since Odd Thomas, because that was a while ago.
Yeah,
about almost a decade or so, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, Anton Yelchin has been with us for a while, so for sure. So Van Helsing stars Hugh Jackman, and if you didn't know that, I would be surprised because he's kind of front and center on all the promotional material.
Hugh Jackman? I've never heard of him.
Who's Hugh Jackman? Wolverine himself, Australia's own export, Hugh Jackman, the Music Man, right now currently. It also stars Kate Beckinsale as Anna. I'm not even say her last name. Valerius. Kate Beckinsale, actually post Underworld Kate Beckinsale. She had already done the first movie before this one, even though they're similar roles, and Stephen Sommers was actually kind of worried about that. It also has Richard Roxburgh, who we talked about Monday. He plays the villainous Count Vladius Dracula. We have David Wenman as Carl. We have Schuler Huxley as Frankenstein's monster, Elena Arway and Will Kemp, and lastly, a mainstay in Stephen Sommers movies, Kevin James. I don't know what his middle name is. Kevin J. O'Connor as Igor.
Even under all that makeup, I instantly knew it was Kevin J. O'Connor.
Yeah,
I could tell from his voice.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. It's good to see him.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that I don't think I've seen all the way through until this time around. I think I've seen bits and pieces, for better or worse. But this was my first time watching it all the way through. But guess what? It's not my week. You don't care what I think about it quite yet. You want to know what this guy thinks about it. So I think Monday you did establish that you've heard of Van Helsing before, and it was coming out, and you had friends that probably watched it and told you about it.
Yeah, I remember. So Yes, same kind of deal. I had friends that went and saw League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I had friends that went and saw Van Helsing. I remember having friends that talked positively about both films, and I remember one friend in particular
They're not your friends
really,
anymore.
really no, what really was into Van Helsing. And he's like, yeah, this is a really cool movie.
It's an odd one to really like. But
He liked it. Well, but yeah, no, he was really into it. And yeah, so I mean, I knew it had Hugh Jackman. I knew it had Kate Beckinsale. I've never seen Underworld. So I have
Still haven't seen.
Still haven't seen any.
Oh, I would have
none of
totally
the
thought
Underworlds.
you would have.
Nope, none of the Underworlds.
I know you kind of like to go on these kicks where you marathon through a whole series. I think Underworld series is right for you to. You did Resident Evil,
Yeah.
so I think Underworld is right for you to
Including the
watch.
most recent Resident Evil, which
Yeah.
is horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I think Underworld's a mixed bag. The interesting thing with Underworld is, at some point, Kate Beckinsale thought she was too good for the character, so they got, I think, Rona Mitra to replace her, who looks exactly like Kate Beckinsale.
No.
So
I don't think she. Oh well, I don't think she does in real life.
Maybe it's somebody else then. Maybe I'm misremembering the person's name.
I mean, she might. It might be her. But I don't see him looking like.
Exact, like almost like they. It could be her twin.
Huh.
It's surprising how close to look. She replaced her for like one movie or two movies, and then Kate Beckinsale came back. It's hilarious.
I think it is Rona Mitra because I think we had this discussion before because I think maybe it was you and Kirby both said no, she does look a lot like Rona Mitra, and I was like no, she doesn't. But I think you guys outvoted me. But I think you're right. Sounds right.
Yeah, she's her celebrity twin. But I think that's interesting, and so I would be curious on your thought. I've not seen all the Underworlds. I do know Bill Nighy's in the first one, so that's cool. The first movie, I think I've only seen the first Underworld, and that was enough for me. But I'd be curious where you would fall on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would definitely marathon them all, just like the Resident Evils. I'd kind of go through them all just because.
And also similar milieu to what we're watching now, so you might like it. So we've established that you kind of knew Van Helsing, haven't seen Underworld, have a friend that likes it. It wasn't me, I swear. What'd you think about Van Helsing this watch time? This
first time watching it. So just like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, to start, I really was I was hooked into this movie. So it has kind of an interesting prologue right off the bat. It's in black and white first of all, shifts to color after this, but it's in black and white. It's like 1897 or something. It's in Transylvania, but Dr. Frankenstein is there, and Frankenstein's monster, and then also Dracula. And so I was like, wow, this is really interesting. I didn't know. I honestly thought the movie was all just Dracula and Van Helsing, and that's it. I didn't know that it had Frankenstein's monster or anything like that. So I was like, this is really, really cool. And then once that sequence is over, it goes to Hugh Jackman, who's now chasing Mr. Hyde, right? So I was like, hey, Mr. Hyde, he looks a little similar to the Mr. Hyde in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, although this one is all CGI. There's no anything practical about
Voiced
it. Voiced
by Robbie Coltrane in this one.
Yeah, but I was like, this is cool. And now he's like hunting. Then he gets called back to the Vatican, and he's like doing confession, and then he like goes back to the their secret headquarters or whatever, and like we're going to task you to go find Dracula. And here's Kate Beckinsale and her brother and they have to find Dracula and defeat Dracula, or else they'll never get into heaven. So he goes over to Transylvania. He gets to bring along his little sidekick friar guy. He's just a friar. He's not officially a monk.
His own Simon Pegg. From Mission Impossible.
They go over there and do battle with these winged brides of Dracula and all that stuff. And it's very, very cool. And then it lost me. The movie just as it goes on, the movie gets so busy. When we were talking about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think you said kind of in the latter part of the movie, it gets really, really kind of busy and just too much going on. And I kind of chuckled because I was thinking ahead to this movie. This movie gets so busy. There's so much going on in the last 45 minutes or whatever. And again, this movie is too long. It goes on and on and on. I was completely exhausted by the end of it. I wish that he would have cut out a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's just like you think that this, they're finally going to stop here. No, we're going to go here. No, we're going to go here. No. There's enough CGI. I wrote down there's enough CGI for 10 movies in this. Probably 50 movies. Yeah. There's enough CGI. And I know some of you may be asking yourself, like, but Lord of the Rings and all these other movies, they have plenty of CGI, but a lot of that is just kind of auxiliary CGI stuff in the background. The CGI is front and center, and there is a ton of it. I'm not saying it necessarily all looks bad or all looks good or whatever, but it's just there's so much of it.
Yeah.
There's just so much of it, and it's just. Frankenstein's monsters swinging over here and swinging over there, and then it cuts back to Kate Beckinsale fighting one of the brides of Dracula, and then Frankenstein's doing this, and then Igor's chasing this guy, and then this guy's doing this, and then
this guy's turning into a werewolf, and
this
guy's
it's just I was like I can't keep up with all this stuff. It got so busy and so not complex, but just kind of convoluted and just so. Tedious and exhausting. I ultimately didn't really like this movie, honestly, overall. I wish that it would have kept that same kind of progression and build up once they get to Transylvania, because I thought they were going to get to Transylvania and then they basically start making their way to Dracula's lair, or his castle, not his actual lair, which they find later in the movie, but they kind of go to where he is. And I thought, okay, well, this is going to kind of maybe wrap up in the next 20 or 30 minutes. But nope.
We have another hour.
You've got at least another hour still going on with it. And I think that really, really hampers this movie big time. So ultimately, I didn't really like this movie. And just like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and just like Time After Time, the premise really hooked me, but it's just what they wind up doing with the movie didn't work for me. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of this movie. Again, just like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I wouldn't call it unwatchable by any stretch, but I don't really care to watch it. You said this is a movie that you may have seen one time all the way through before, maybe not, or maybe just seen part of it.
I think part of it, but I think this is the first time.
This is the first time you've seen it all the way.
Because I don't remember the intro, the black and white bit.
Yeah,
like, I don't remember that at all.
Okay.
So and then, I mean, you're not wrong with your statement, right? I think so. Stephen Sommers thought of this idea while he was finishing up Mummy Returns, and I like you. There's some. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting premise. I just don't think it's executed very well. I do think the CGI, it relies too much on the CGI, and the CGI for this time just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I say that, and I'm curious if in 20 years we're gonna feel the same way about like Avengers Endgame, because I feel like they
probably have some of it.
They have digital characters, but Thanos and the Hulk look real.
Yeah, way better. Yeah,
way better than this. And I understand like. You can't compare the two.
Yeah.
But that's a little tangent that I was thinking about. I think this movie tries to be too much. Van Helsing turns into James Bond. It's too silly and campy for it to be any kind of fun. And maybe it, like you said, it straddles.
I actually like the tone of it.
It straddles that line. For me, Van Helsing comes off as really inept, and this is kind of what I was alluding to last week. Was like because he like when those I think they're the brides of Dracula, but they're almost like succubus too. They're like a mixture of the two. He fires like 1,000,000 arrows at those people through his steampunk bow and arrow, and it just felt like it wasn't the smartest thing to do. Like I wanted him to be more clever about that stuff, and he's supposed to be this world famous Van Helsing, and I kind of wanted almost like if we jump to LXG. Like Extraordinary Gentlemen, when they're capturing Mr. Hyde, like Alan Quartermain's like putting him into setting a trap for him,
make him go left,
all that kind of stuff. And I wanted that kind of aspect to Van Helsing. Like I wanted to see him be smarter than everyone else and have all this this history and this knowledge of how to kind of do these things and be smarter and all this stuff. But it seems like he kind of gets his butt handed to him a lot, and it's only at the end that he happens to defeat Dracula because he gets bit and all this kind of stuff. Like it just seems like it's more circumstance and it's more luck than it is like cleverness and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I was alluding to last week when I was saying like it's really hard for me to get on board with inept characters, and I feel like he's kind of inept even though the movie's trying to make him out to be this suave, almost 1800 Victorian James Bond kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
There's aspects of this movie I like. I think Kate Beckinsale looks cool. I think Hugh Jackman looks cool. I like the ball scene. Like I like how that looks and that's rendered, and I think that's interesting. I think if we ended the movie there and like maybe didn't have the whole second half where they're
Oh my God,
discovering the
Yeah.
where his lair is, they're doing the puzzle and all that kind of stuff. Hugh Jackman gets turned into a werewolf. Spoiler alert. I think all that stuff would have been better for a sequel or a different movie altogether. And all that. The other thing I was gonna say is I really like the werewolf transformations. Like I feel like I don't think it looks good anymore, but I think the concept is interesting, and I don't think it's something we've ever seen before where, you know, instead of like growing and sprouting into a werewolf and being covered with hair, he's like literally ripping his flesh off and there's a werewolf
it is cool
underneath.
Yeah.
Like I think
that idea is cool.
it was almost like when we watched Dance of the Dead, right? With the zombies like being flung through the air and stuff like that.
That's a good point.
It sucks that a clever and a great idea is kind of stuck to a bad movie.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt. It was just like when I watched that, I was like, that is so cool and so interesting and so innovative, and more things need to borrow this, and hopefully they will in the future. But like you, I think that the ending kind of does the movie a big disservice, and you know, I don't think I felt as positive throughout the whole movie as you did. I think I like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen better than this movie because I like the characters more and the interactions more than I like Moody Van Helsing. And then
this may not sound like it would be the case, but I like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen overall better than this movie too.
I thought you were the opposite.
No, this movie is destroyed by its overlength and all of the cacophony that is kind of in the last 30 or 40 minutes of the movie. So you brought up the ball scene. I hate to be that guy, but I actually paused it at that point to see how much time was left.
It's like 30 minutes.
I think there's like 40 minutes left. And I was like, holy crap. Like, because I was hoping they would wrap it up at the ball and that would be the end of it. But they just keep going and keep going and keep going. And ultimately, to me, that brought the movie way down, even lower than what I thought about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, mercifully, is much shorter. Or maybe not much shorter, but it is shorter. And it doesn't have that cacophonous, crap going on and CGI fest going on. I mean, there's plenty of CGI in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen as well, but not to this extent. Not at all.
And this movie didn't need Dracula's subplot of trying to use Frankenstein's monster to have babies and stuff like that.
Flying babies.
I think having him as a bad guy is enough, right? I don't think he needs that motivation. Like that would be something for a sequel.
Yeah.
Right? Like he gets out alive, maybe thinking had his first brush with death, maybe thinking about what would happen if he dies, wanting to establish some generational thing. Then you can kind of have like, we have this world with all these different monsters from different books. We can kind of start combining and making like amalgamations and different portmanteaus of these kind of bad guys. Like that would be cool for a sequel, but not for this one. So I think 100% on board. The ending sinks this movie. It's like the freaking albatross around this movie's neck.
So you talking about that makes me think, I wish I would have said this in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but I'm saying it now. I was hoping that because the villain in that movie, once again played by Richard Roxburgh, the villain in that movie, I guess I spoiled that for technically for people that haven't seen that movie, but he is wanting to create, or he's trying to steal the powers of all these people.
Yes.
And then at one point he gets a box delivered to him, and that's what he's trying to run away with. I thought he was going to inject all that, right? And he's going to become this supervillain. That makes it much cooler ending than just fighting, like you said, Abomination against the Hyde or whatever. Well, and I think that's perfect. Yeah. So I will say, I do like Richard Roxburgh's Count Dracula portrayal in this movie. Yeah. I think that some people might be turned off by it because it's very different than Bela Lugosi or some of the Count Draculas that you've seen in the past. But I actually like him. He's kind of like a hip, like got the tied back kind of hair stuff.
He kind of
I like him. In this
movie.
Like
Gary Oldman vibes. Yeah, like he's more. He plays like the sexy vampire, not more like. Yeah. Like not Nosferatu, not Willem Dafoe.
And this movie is silly and campy, but I mean I was fine with the tone of it, and I didn't really dislike any of the characters. Just like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I thought everybody does fine for what they are. I don't necessarily see Van Helsing's character as inept as you do, but I can see why you would say that. To me, he's like more almost like unmatched. Yeah. But I can see why you say that, but. I will say some of the brides of Dracula, some of their acting is a little spotty, and line delivery is a little spotty.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, I mean, I didn't have any problems. And Kevin J. O'Connor is fun as Igor, even though he's buried under a bunch of makeup. But yeah, this movie is just. It's oh man,
and I don't like the way Frankenstein's monsters look in this. I don't think that because they try to make him steampunky, and I just don't think that.
Yeah, he
that
kind of looks.
anything.
Yeah, to me, he was like a mishmash of like Peter Boyle and the Robert De Niro, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I got so much Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in there, in it. Yeah, for sure.
So this movie, I saw that it's streaming on Peacock. I don't have the Peacock service,
no.
so yeah, who knows? But it's on Peacock right now. It's only 24% fresh, but that is higher than League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Which was 17%, and it's 57% audience score. Roger Ebert gave League of Extraordinary Gentlemen 1 star. He actually thought this movie was fun, and he gave it 3 stars. Although I think he did complain about it being fairly noisy and cacophonous to some extent. But Leonard Maltin gave it a bomb.
Is this the first Leonard Maltin bomb we've done?
No, he gave Earthquake a bomb,
Okay.
which I completely disagree
Yeah, I
with.
don't
Earthquake
think
is fun. Yeah,
This-
Earthquake is stupid,
Earthquake's
but it's
more
fun.
fun than this movie.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I think this is a case. I love Leonard Maltin, but I think this is a case of just he's a big fan of the old Dracula and a big fan of the old kind of Frankenstein, and I think he just was upset. He calls this, I'm paraphrasing, but he says it's basically just like a video game adaptation almost, and it's just noisy. And I agree with the noisy part, but
I think there is a video game adaptation of this too.
yeah, well, there
Like
probably
for
is.
PlayStation 2 or whatever.
But yeah, his review. I wouldn't say. I mean, because Bob is the worst, right? I wouldn't say it's the worst, but yeah, I think that's fairly harsh. But hey, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Like Earthquake, I was like, come on, man. I'm like, okay.
It might have bombed Stephen Sommers' career.
It might have, yeah. Well, I mean, The Mummy is leaps and bounds better than this film.
They feel like two different people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some DNA.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, they to me they're similar as far as like they take an old villain, like in the Mummy's case, it's the Mummy. In this case, it's Dracula and Frankenstein's monster. They take an old movie villain and put a fun, adventurous spin on it.
Yep.
But the Mummy works. In Van Helsing, not really.
Yep, I agree.
So,
all right. Well, that was our thoughts on Van Helsing. On these Wednesday episodes, we like to discuss viewers' questions that are sent to us, and we chose one this week that is on topic. We really don't, I feel like, I was going to say, we don't really talk about big name actors, but we've talked about De Niro and stuff like that.
yeah.
But we're going to talk about Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman, the little unknown actor that was Wolverine and has gone on to do other great things. I mean, he's had he's blown up since Wolverine. I'm sure, well, never mind. I was gonna say he's lucky that one guy stepped down from Wolverine, but I think that's dismissing the talent that Hugh Jackman has. I think he would have had a career nonetheless, but I'm glad that he stepped in the role that he did. He's been in a lot of things. I remember him standing out to me like in Swordfish that came out, like the one with John Travolta as the bad guy, Halle Berry. Not a great movie, but a hacking movie nonetheless. So it endears it to me.
Yeah. And if you're a Halle Berry fan, that's the movie for you.
Yeah, for sure.
That and Monsters Ball.
He was in, obviously The Greatest Showman, which is a musical that I've warmed up to. I don't think you've seen it yet.
I have not seen it. Yeah.
And I know like Barnum has had issues, and people have had issues with the movie because it doesn't cast a favorable light on someone who probably wasn't very favorable. But Hugh Jackman's had a huge career and stuff. Do you want to exclude the X-Men movies from our list because we have so many of those?
I mean, not necessarily, because I mean,
wasn't he in? He was in. Was it the Canadian guy who did Enemy, and he did the other movie Prisoners?
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, he's in Prisoners.
So
he's in Prisoners. He's in Chappie, the Neil Blomkamp movie.
I forgot about Chappie. Ooh.
Yeah, he was in Bad Education, which you and I both watched not long ago.
Oh yeah, the TV movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, and a lot of things. I have one thing on my list that I really like him in. I don't know if it's his best role or his best acting, but I like this movie. I feel like not a lot of people talk about this movie. So maybe they do. I don't know. I'll get your take on it, but I have one off the top of my head. Do you have? What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about?
So we've got he's got the X-Men movies. He's got as you said, the Greatest Showman, Pan. He's in Pan. I mean, his greatest movie is movie 43, right? He's in one of the segments of movie 43. No, he's in Prisoners, as you said. But yeah, I feel like a lot of his career is the first original 3 X-Men, then the X-Men like Days of Future Past, and X-Men the Wolverine movies, and
X-Men Origin.
yeah, Logan and everything else. So he's done quite a bit of Wolverine. He's in Eddie the Eagle.
I remember. I think I was more favorable with Eddie Eagle than most reviewers.
You were more favorable than me because I don't remember it being all that great. The Reminiscence he recently did on HBO, which I didn't really like. So
I haven't seen that one. That one looked not good.
yeah. So before I say what my kind of pick is, I will call out Baz Luhrmann's Australia, which is like an epic film that Baz Luhrmann, I believe, is Australian. So well. I'm almost 100% certain that he's Australian.
So
well, I didn't want to go like, wait, is he from New Zealand? But yeah, he's Australian.
Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman is in it.
Right, and so I think it's kind of his love letter to Australia, and I remember it being, I think, better than a lot of people said because I don't think it was super well received. Not amazing, but I remember it being like kind of this cool epic, epic about Australia. So I do want to kind of point that out. That came out in 2008, so that might be worth checking out if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I mean, I think I know what I think I know what your pick is, and I think I got my pick.
I think what was my pick? How many words in the title of my pick?
2.
Yeah, well, it might be. Yeah, I'm gonna choose. I know I harped on this director because I watched one of his movies last week, and I'm not sure if I think he's a great director because the movies I've seen he's done, which is like Free Guy and The Adam Project, not a big fan of. He was producer on Stranger Things and has directed a few episodes, and I'm a fan of Stranger Things. I know that's not really a show that has resonated with you. I really like Real Steel, based off of You Wouldn't Know This, Richard Matheson short story. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great movie. I wish they would make a sequel. I think he brings a lot of heart to the movie, and I really like Real Steel. And I feel like a lot of people sleep on it.
I don't remember disliking it. I don't remember having a strong feeling towards it one way or the other. But I am very familiar with the original Twilight Zone Steel episode. It's just called Steel, not Real Steel. That has Lee Marvin as the kind of owner of the robots that go in and do the boxing or whatever. And I think, I don't know, maybe I've seen that so much because I've seen the Twilight Zone I've seen all the Twilight Zone episodes so many times. Maybe when I watched Real Steel, I just was like, whatever. I don't know. But I don't remember saying like, oh, I don't like this or anything like that. I don't really remember having a strong feeling one way or the other. So probably needs a rewatch from me. Yeah, because I love Richard Matheson. He's amazing writer.
One of my favorite authors. I've not seen the Twilight Zone episode, so for me, it was new and interesting, and like I said, I like it. It's. I think Sean Levy's kind of carving out a niche for himself as like a family-friendly 4-quadrant kind of movie, and it's not like it is what it is. It's PG. It's family-friendly. It's a Disney movie. But I don't think it might not be Disney, but it's a Disney-esque movie, I guess.
Right.
So where is your favorite Hugh Jackman movie role or whatever?
Well, I noticed 2 in there that I've forgotten about that I think one is fairly widely acclaimed. These aren't my picks, but one is The Prestige. How do you feel about The Prestige? The Christopher Nolan movie.
People really like The Prestige. I'm not the fan of Prestige. I like the Edward Norton movie that came out, The Illusionist, better than The Prestige. Like so many people love The Prestige, and I watch it and I just don't get it.
You've a lot of Christopher Nolan fans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like anything he does, and I'm not saying I disagree with him or agree with him. Neither way, I'm not weighing in here. But you have a lot of people that are anything Christopher Nolan does, they are down for it, right? So,
and we have yet like Christopher Nolan doing another allegory for being a film director, like he was in Inception and some of these things. I don't know if it's like you said, like because Christopher Nolan has done some really well received movies like the Dark Knight and stuff that people have kind of have warmed to his filmography or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't see it with The Prestige. What was the other one?
The Fountain. Have you seen The Fountain?
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay. We'll go back to The Fountain. Where do you?
I remember liking The Prestige. I don't honestly remember that much about The Illusionist, so I don't remember where I fell on that. But I mean, The Prestige is another one of those that I saw it a long time ago when it came out. I haven't seen it since, and I'm not like, oh, I must watch that again. You know, so it's kind of that's my recollection of it. I remember it being good, but I don't remember a whole. I mean, I do remember certain plot things in it. You know, but. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
The Fountain, going back to that, Darren Aronofsky, Clint Mansell did the score. Probably one of my, I was going to say the best film score, but I feel like that's probably a little grandiose and maybe hyperbolic to say, but probably one of my favorite film scores. I think Clint Mansell, like barring like John Williams and stuff like that, maybe like barring really famous film composers like Clint Mansell and like Michael Giacchino are some of my favorite composers. Like his score for Moon is amazing. His score for Fountain is amazing. He's done a lot of Darren Aronofsky movies. So I love the music to The Fountain. So for me, it's like,
that's all.
Yeah, I mean the movie's kind of twisty, but for me, it's like a music video.
Yeah,
like it's a chance to experience the music with visuals.
Yeah,
and I don't think Darren Aronofsky built it that way, but I think the story is kind of okay. It's kind of nebulous and twisty, and you know, kind of his ilk. But for me, what carries The Fountain is the music along with the visuals.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Where do you fall in The Fountain?
I remember once again. I hate to sound like this, but I remember once again liking it. I've only seen it the one time. That was also a long time ago because I feel like it came out in very close proximity to The Prestige, and that was when Darren Aronofsky at that point had done Pi. He'd done Requiem for a Dream, which I think is a really good movie, although difficult to watch.
He
did Noah, which I never saw, but I think Noah came after this. I can't remember what he did between Requiem for a Dream and The Fountain.
Black Swan?
No, that came later too. So this was pre Black Swan. This is pre Mother. This is pre a lot of these other movies.
He did The Wrestler, I think, before that.
The Wrestler, I still think it came after The Fountain.
I think Wrestler's 2003.
I thought it was 2008. I don't know. Well, anyway, so at this point, I feel like I had only ever seen Pi and Requiem for a Dream, so I thought The Fountain was different, and I liked what he did with, or I liked what he was trying to do. I don't remember being over the moon about the movie, and I know some people. So, did he do anything between Requiem?
No.
And Fountain?
The big ones: Pi, Requiem for a Dream, Fountain, The Wrestler, Black Swan, Noah, Mother.
Okay,
are kind of his biggest.
What
hits.
has he done since Mother?
He looks like he's did like a TV series, Welcome to Earth.
Okay, so it's been a minute.
Oh, the one with Will Smith.
He did a feature film.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, and there was a 6-year gap between Requiem for a Dream and The Fountain, 2000 2006. So yeah, I'd only ever seen Pi and Requiem for a Dream, but I remember thinking, okay, this is a guy who I like the chances that he takes. I like the kind of the what he's trying to do here. Yeah. So I think I respected it and appreciated it on that level. I don't know that I thought it was like an amazing movie or anything like that, but. Anyway, we've gone off. It was my fault. We went off on a tangent about those two movies. But the movie that I'm going to pick that I think Hugh Jackman is the best in, and this is the reason why I didn't really want to exclude the X-Men movies, is I think Logan is probably my favorite Hugh Jackman movie. Again, he's done plenty of stuff that's not Wolverine that is good or great. But, I think Logan, I like the very first X-Men movie a lot. 2 and 3, especially 3.
Yeah.
But 2's pretty good as well. And then the reboots, kind of like the Days of Future Past, I think is good. Yes. I'm not a fan of the standalone Wolverine movies, except for Logan. Really, I mean, like Wolverine and the Wolverine or whatever it's called. But Logan is, I thought, really really well done movie. And it's a superhero movie. It's a comic book movie, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a damn good movie, right? And I think you could drop the superhero, the comic books. I think it's just a damn good dramatic film. It's good. It's really, really good, solid movie.
I 100% agree.
It transcends its comic bookness, I think.
I think that's exactly right. I'm not sure. I don't know if him fighting the younger version of himself sits as well with me anymore. I think it just feels played out, but I do think it deals. I think it fits the movie's theme really well, and I'm sure if I have watched it again in recent memory, I'd feel completely different. But I'd not take away anything. I think of the X-Men movies that Hugh Jackman's been a part of, Logan's probably the best one.
Yeah.
Transcends it, and then we can talk about like Days of Future Past and the first X-Men movie. But I think the Logan is probably the best he's been as Wolverine for sure.
And you're right. Looking through his filmography, there is a video game fan, Van Helsing.
There you go.
I saw that. He did the voice for it.
All right. Well, is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything Hugh Jackman and more. Let us know what you think of his favorite roles. Maybe avoid some spoilers when he does some cameos and stuff and other things. Let's not. But hey, who knows? Whatever. People do what they do. Let us know what your favorite Hugh Jackman role is down below. Is it something we mentioned? Is it something we didn't mention? Let us know. That was Van Helsing. Again, we're not the biggest fans of it.
Oh, I feel like I'm turning into you that this movie, both movies this week and both movies last week were not hot on.
I've been rubbing.
I don't know that I've had that many movies in a row that I didn't like. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe the next round of movies you're gonna like a little bit more. I don't know what they are off the top of my head.
I don't either.
But
hopefully
you do. I think one of them. Well, yeah, we'll find out. Hey, that's us planting the seeds for you guys to watch next week. Next week, find out what movies he and I like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Like, subscribe, share the show, do all the social media stuff. We really do appreciate it. Shoot us an email like this via your question to realshame@gmail.com. And we'll see you soon. We'll see you next week, guys, when we watch the movies from my list of shame. And hopefully he gets a little bit happier about them. We'll see you soon, guys. Bye.